So wait, you're asking if the Count on Sesame Street ever killed someone and then drank their blood for sustenance? Yeah, no, they never did that.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Just a body massage machine, go!
Welcome, everybody, to Random Encounter, the RPG Fan Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Steinman, Pale Robbie on the boards. Joining me today, we have the man with many names.
I have many titles. This is John McCarroll. What's my title today? I'm going to go with Senior Reviews Editor. I'm Keeper X on the board.
Oh, God. Newsman.
Zach, Pintchik, super flat on the boards.
And live from Japan, where it's, 8:42 in the morning right now?
Yes, it is.
That's early.
This is Stephen at Meyerink, and I am Taylor on the boards.
He is right now communicating with us from a smoking bar, so please excuse the fact that he's going to bring it down to the dulcet tones today.
I'm going to sound a little low today.
It's like we're talking on the Quiet Storm. So we have lots and lots of games to talk about, and we got some news segments to talk about. So going to kick it off over to John, who's going to talk about...
I've been killing enemies over and over and over, specifically Rappies, because I hate Rappies. I've been playing Phantasy Star Portable 2, which I honestly, in everything, I like. It's good. It's just like every other Phantasy Star online universe portable game that you've played.
I mean, there's a distinction. Online, is it closer to online or closer to Universe? Because I know
people hated Universe.
Closer to Universe.
It's closer to Universe.
Is it?
No, here's the thing.
Like a good universe?
I like it a lot better than like Phantasy Star Zero. It's gotten rid of the full expletive deleted timing based combat, which I hate. I hate having to do tap, tap, tap. I just want to mash button. And luckily it lets you mash button. And then you have the triangle button, which you can map a special power to. It's really a simplistic combat system. You can't go wrong with it, and you kill a boatload of enemies.
Just a little side comment, because I remember playing Phantasy Star online, but I never played Universe. What was everybody's big beef with Universe? What made Universe not fun? Like, what was...
It came out and was half finished, for one thing.
Okay, so...
There were like 3 levels.
Okay, so we're talking content problems, but was the core gameplay really the same? Like,
it wasn't as nuanced. Really. Like, it just didn't quite grab that same like loot, that draw to get like more stuff and go see. And
right.
There was a subscription.
They tried to focus it on the story more. Like, the single player campaign was supposed to be a legitimate single player campaign, and it didn't really work. And it doesn't work in Phantasy Star Portable 2 either. The story is awful in this game. Really, really awful.
Okay. But you're liking it so far. Now, have you had a chance to play with people online? Like, I'm guessing that this is multiplayer. But,
yes.
But how many people are playing online, or is it just you and some friends that you know you're going to play?
No, you can jump into random games.
So infrastructure.
It's nice. Yes, it is infrastructure. The first one was not. Which, honestly, we're like, oh, my God, we can play online despite the fact that most other games in this genre have let you play it online for years.
But on the PSP?
Well, I mean, there have been online games for the PSP, and I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Monster
The
Hunter?
online play adds a significant bit to it.
Yeah, I'm hoping to play with Steven at some point, because did you get the US version?
Yes.
Okay, so we can play together, and I'm gonna have a review of that sometime soon, probably in the next 2 weeks, because I gotta finish it up and start writing my ZHP review.
So far you like it?
I like it. It's got its flaws. The story's retarded. Stores are useless, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, if you liked Phantasy Star Portable or Phantasy Star Universe or even Phantasy Star Online, I mean, it's a worthy pickup. It's not the greatest game I've ever played. They are trying to be Monster Hunter by kind of streamlining things, but it's good. I like it.
But I still just want another Phantasy Star. I just want a regular Phantasy Star 5. That's all I want.
Oh, like a regular Phantasy Star.
I want like a real Phantasy Star game, like my own, because I played the other ones, years after they came out when I was a kid. But I want my own,
And
I want a unicorn, but we both know that's not going to happen.
But hey, at least we have Phantasy Star Online too, right?
Yeah.
There's that.
Does this give you hope for Phantasy Star Online too, John? Does this give you hope for PSP2?
PSO2.
Yeah, that's my response. I'm not going to use words. My response is
Yeah, okay. Well, is that all you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a particularly nuanced game. It's you fight lots of dudes, you have different kinds of weapons. There's lots of customization options. It's got the whole kind of everything that you can expect for customization. So, but overall, it's really good.
All right. So I guess we're going to pass it on over to, oh God, we have more Kingdom Hearts to talk about, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Oh boy.
I'm delighted.
Okay. Fill me in on the adventures of Sora and his 13 personalities.
Okay, well, this one's not about regular Sora.
Oh, for God's sake.
This one's about Data Sora.
What?
Wait, what? Is this when they went into Tron?
No.
Wait, Data Sora, from Star Trek?
Okay, let's stop making fun of it. Let's stop making fun of it because it's way too easy. All right, Steven, please explain what Data Sora is.
Kingdom Hearts is special. Don't make fun of it, okay? Anyway, the setup of the game is that after Kingdom Hearts 1, and I believe sometime after Chain of Memories, Jiminy opens up his memo and sees that it says "Thank Namine," which, if you haven't played Chain of Memories, makes no sense.
That's a timeline right there.
No, it took me a second, and Jiminy opens up his journal, and I was like, wait, Jiminy Cricket. Okay. I'm sorry, Steven. I'm sorry. I'm good. I'm just going to mute my mic.
Disney is serious business, okay? I have smoke in my lungs to prove it. Anyway. So he opens it up and he's like, oh, why does it say thank Namine? And they basically go through, I couldn't quite catch the nuance of it because my Japanese isn't good enough, but they're going through Sora's memories again. But there's some sort of glitch data in there, so I don't actually know what they're trying to find other than why it says thank Namine. And it appears they retconned Birth by Sleep in as well because there's something else in the journal about Birth by Sleep, which I won't say because that's still pretty new in the U.S. and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But basically what I hear from people is that the story in the game is terrible, and I'm getting that vibe as I play it because it just seems like, oh, let's run around and jump on platforms, and I have no idea why I'm doing it. So far, it is not as good as Birth by Sleep.
Well, was Coded a cell phone game at first?
Yeah, and it shows. The game is a lot of fun, but story-wise, it doesn't do really anything.
So we're just milking the Kingdom Hearts franchise. We could have called it anything, but we called it Kingdom Hearts.
Well, see, it does. I'm told it connects Birth by Sleep to the next couple of games, but either my Japanese isn't good enough or I just haven't seen it yet. But it seems kind of like, oh yeah, we're all just chilling in front of a computer watching Data Sora run around. Data Sora is the Sora in his memories that you play as. And you're basically trying to fix the glitched data and find out why it says thank Namine in the journal.
Now, the next Kingdom Hearts game is apparently the 3DS one, right? Mm. And didn't somebody at Square Enix, somebody came out and said that that's basically the next real Kingdom Hearts game. Are we all expecting that to be Kingdom Hearts 3? I could honestly see that happening to where that kind of carries on as Kingdom Hearts 3 at this point.
It's got a 3 in the title.
But especially because you've still got that crew working on Versus 13, which is actually starting to look like a real game now instead of just vaporware. But, that thing's still a while off.
I think that in Japan, it's no longer we have to publish this on a home console that connects to a television for it to be a real game.
Sure.
I mean, if you look at Japan, the PSP and the DS are amazingly popular. And, the most popular game in the world is Monster Hunter.
I can verify this. At the Tokyo Game Show, basically everybody was walking around with PSPs playing Monster Hunter or Phantasy Star, or at the time, I don't think Pokemon Black was out, or Pokemon, whatever the new ones are. I don't think that was out, but now I see that everywhere on the train, and I'm afraid to take out my DS and play it. I don't have it, but if I did, I'd be afraid that I was going to get challenged by like a 10-year-old and get smoked by like a level 900 Charizard.
But yeah, I mean, John brings up a good point. It doesn't really have to be on a home console anymore, and they could. But I do think that the price tag on the 3DS, you know, I'm not sure if we're going to talk about it in the news, but the price tag on the 3DS, like that thing is priced like a console now. So you're putting
it's what is 200 or 25,000 yen, which based on the current bad exchange rate is $300. If the exchange rate were better, if it were like it usually is, where it's 100 yen to $1 or where thereabouts, it's $250. What?
I said I wish.
Oh yeah, that's what it used to be. Which was the price of the PSP when it launched in North America, $250.
Yeah, and didn't that hurt the PSP pretty bad?
It gave it a slow start, I think, but I think that
the lack of games, I think, did too.
True.
Yeah.
True.
When Luminous was the only good game for the PSP for like 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
And I mean, the price discrepancy between that and the DS, you know, which grew a lot, you know, due to the DS's dropping in price, that certainly didn't help either. So.
Yeah.
Right.
But
right.
I don't see the price point as being an issue, but we're not talking about that right now.
Yeah, I just think that the next Kingdom Hearts game, I mean, it sounds like Recoded is just kind of a side story thing. They're going to retcon in some stuff to make connections to Birth by Sleep, which is cool. But then I'm guessing that the next real Kingdom Hearts game, everybody's going to consider it to be this Kingdom Hearts 3DS, whatever something with numbers and maybe a division sign, and I hope they throw a square root in there for all I care.
Kind of like the square root of 458 days over 5 plus Roxas.
My question about Recoded is that the cell phone version was like a puzzle game. Is that carried over to the DS version?
It's actually pretty cool. They've carried the spirit of that over. But what it is you kind of start up, and it actually plays like Birth by Sleep. You get commands, you put them in a deck. And so I was pretty happy to see that. So it's got like regular combat. But there's a lot of like blocks that have been added to the levels, and that's honestly what the game calls them. They're blocks. And they basically create platforming levels out of the worlds, and then occasionally the world will get glitched, and it's kind of cool of an effect. Like you'll go to like Traverse Town from the first Kingdom Hearts, and part of the world will be totally like screwed up. Like it'll just be like, it'll have all these weird computer effects on it. It'll look glitched out, and you have to find like a bug area, and you go into this like crazy computer zone, and you solve a platforming puzzle, and you fix the world, and you can continue exploring the memories. It also has, it's got like an avatar creator. You can take all these really cutesy parts and put them together to make an avatar, and then you can, just like in Dragon Quest IX, you can canvas for guests. And I don't know actually what it does yet.
Is the creation system for that better than it was for making a freaking gummy ship?
Yeah, you basically just pick parts to build your avatar, like face and hair and stuff.
Okay.
And that, from what I see there, that generates like random puzzle stages that you can play, and they actually carry the stuff you win in them, like the abilities and the level up stuff, carries over to the main game. And the level up system is actually pretty cool. It's kind of like a sphere grid, but only like all computer themed, and you basically put these chips down, like a level up chip or like a attack +2 chip, and you fill up these lines, and as you go through the lines, you find these new abilities like, you know, dodge roll and all the regular Kingdom Hearts stuff. And then you can find like a deck slot up, so you can have like an extra command in your set of abilities. The combat works a lot like Birth by Sleep. It's kind of like what would happen if they took 358 days, but actually took it seriously and made it Birth by Sleep.
So basically what you're telling me is that it goes Birth by Sleep, Coded, and 358/2 in terms of quality. Is that what I'm hearing right now? Like you're finding it to be fun even if it's not filling in the story gaps as well as it could?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm finding. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. It's definitely gameplay oriented. The thing is, it's filling in a blank that everybody already knows. So Story-wise, I don't think it's going to do a whole lot, but I could be wrong. I've heard the secret ending is cool. But
keep going, Steve.
Yeah, as a rather large Kingdom Hearts fan, which may be obvious by now, I think it's a good game. I hope I finish it. I didn't finish 358 over 2 days. I saw the end. I played through it. I got bored. This one has much better gameplay than 358 over 2 days. The platforming is a lot of fun. It's set up really well. It's nice to go through, the same worlds for the 100th time. And the combat is a lot of fun. So I mean, if you want a good Kingdom Hearts game on DS, it'll be good. But I don't expect it to do a whole lot for the story, personally. Especially having just beaten the English version of Birth by Sleep. Birth by Sleep is without a doubt a better game.
Well, that's cool.
And you can tell they spent more time developing Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, I mean that was in development for a really long time. I mean, I remember watching that kick-ass video at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, and I was like, wow, this actually looks really cool. I'm excited now, and God, I was in college when that came out. Like, wow. So, are you all done there, Steven? Can we move on?
Just a quick side note. I am also playing Mega Man Legends 2.
Oh, sorry, I
awesome.
forgot about that.
It's an older game. The controls did not age well, but the game did. It's a blast, and I can't wait for the one on 3DS. The whole, you can roam around randomly and find parts and upgrade, and it's still very addictive, and the voice acting is actually held up surprisingly well, or surprisingly good as well.
Are they definitely making a Legends 3? Because I thought that Mikami just said that he was interested in making.
It's happening. There's going to be some big announcement on Monday.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they have released like a logo for it and stuff. If you ask Mike, he can inform you on everything.
Okay. I was just making sure. So okay, well that's cool. I mean, I never played the Legends game, but it was always something that I was interested in. So
it's a lot of fun. It's got a pretty good story. The dialogue is fun. It's funny. And the gameplay is really, really good.
Cool. Okay, so Zach, your topic would lead into the digital distribution stuff. So do you mind if I go first?
Go for it.
All right. So I was playing a lot of 3D Dot Game Heroes for the past 2 weeks.
Hey.
Did your sword get big?
My sword did, in fact, get big. Didn't we get in trouble for this?
How big?
I think...
Just continue.
Thank you, John. Thank you. I really see. Here's the thing about 3D Dot. Like, I really like it, and I love the nostalgia factor. I mean, you're basically playing a game, for those who don't know, that is the sequel to The Legend of Zelda, the original, that never happened. So imagine that you never played that side-scrolling, crappy Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Instead, you played just a game that was the sequel to the original Legend of Zelda. Down, looking isometric view, looking down at the playing field, guiding Link around into dungeons and solving puzzles and stuff. That aspect of the game works great. I love the voxel graphics. It's a beautiful game to look at. It's got this like 8-bit style, but it's still 3D. Your sword, as Stephen was intimating, gets ridiculously huge. Like, you get a full life bar, and instead of shooting out like little lasers, like you just have this sword that is literally like the size of a Volkswagen, and it just comes out in front of you and like annihilates everything in your path. So there's a lot of really cool things in the game, but it's clearly a budget title because it was $40 when it came out, and I picked it up for $40. But like, it's clearly a budget title in that there's a lot of little things that add up to make really huge annoyances. Like having this monster sword is great, but it also means that when you don't have that monster sword, you are just screwed. And you're sitting there trying to get like another life bar to complete your life bar so that you have this full sword and you can just take everything out. And it makes the game really easy. But in order to compensate for that, the game throws a lot of really cheap hits at you. Like, you'll scroll over into a new screen and there'll be an enemy right on top of you that'll take away one of your health bars, and then you're back to the dinky sword. And then it took me 20 minutes one time just to get one more life bar. Like, just wandering around, killing enemies over and over and over again until I found a life bar. And that was just really getting on my nerves. And then the other thing is that the overworld exploration is a lot of fun. Like the fact that you're getting new abilities and they let you traverse new areas and find new things. It can be a little clunky getting around, like the map isn't that great of a help, but it's fun. But then I actually felt like the dungeons were the weakest part of the whole game. I just felt like they were simplistic and kind of annoying, and just there wasn't a whole lot to them. And every once in a while, like the perspective, having this isometric view, this perspective would screw me up, and I wouldn't realize that there was like a switch somewhere in the room. Like the HUD would maybe be covering up the switch. So there's just, it's a good game, but there's a lot of little things that really tick me off about it.
Yeah, I can see that. But, I think overall that it's a quality game. I think it's, at this point, there's been a bunch of sales for it for $20, and it's absolutely worth picking it up at that price.
Oh, yeah. For $20, it's like a no-brainer. I'd say even for $40, if you really like the nostalgia factor and you like, just little shout-outs to other games and that sort of thing. Like there's a part where somebody says that they fell asleep. They feel asleep. So you have a reference to like the original Metal Gear. And I love that stuff. And it's clever. It has good ideas. You can create your own character. So you can
that's the best part. That is the best part.
You can make a 3D version of the 8-bit Link model. That's awesome.
No, there's only one character worth playing as, and that's the shark.
The shark
Actually,
is cool.
Little personal anecdote here. When I played that game, I spent 2 hours making a fully animated version of the Awesome Face, which, if you have the big sword, is hysterical because you're this big smiling face with a giant sword. And that may have contributed to most of my enjoyment of that game because I was just running around being like, awesome.
I really did like it. It started to really annoy me. Some of the bosses are ridiculously cheap. Like the dragon boss is borderline sadistic. And then there's just times where I ended up getting hit and I was really questioning the hit detection. Like I was like, how did that hit me? I had my shield up. It hit me square on, but it still got me. And there's other times where like your sword, if it doesn't have the pierce ability and it can't like pass through walls and stuff, it'll get caught on something, and then it felt like I would do it again and it wouldn't get caught. So there's just little things that it's overall a very unpolished game, but I still had fun with it.
Well, I mean, From Software was working on it like around the same time they were working on Demon's Souls. So
yeah, but that game is amazing, and there will be nothing bad said about that game on this podcast, Mister. Oh, I gave Demon's Souls like an 87. You ought to burn in hell for that.
No, an 86, and I got
you rat.
Demon's Souls should get like 110.
Yeah, what's great is I got
Can we get that? Can we create a new award for that?
I got an email from a reader who got so angry because, like, around that month, Patrick, who is noted for giving out pretty high scores, scored the Spectrobes game for Wii with an 87, and I had a guy who was really angry about that.
No, John and I harass each other about that. I think his Demon's Souls review is spot on, and I'm not going to sit here and gush all over Demon's Souls again, but I will say this. I watched the trailer for Project Dark. Demon's
Souls 2.
It is Demon's Souls 2. Like when that demon, like I think it was like a female demon, like her chest opened up and there were just like teeth, and it like swallowed the dude up. It's literally got like 30 seconds of gameplay at most, but it is Demon's Souls, and I was like,
excuse me, the first game that had breasts with mouths on them was Digital Devil Saga.
Yep, no, that's true. That's true. You got a good point there. So
coincidentally, they're both awesome. How about that? Maybe we know a formula for great games.
I'm gonna remain silent on that one. I just started playing Digital Devil Saga, and I have yet to see the greatness. Maybe it'll happen. I've yet to see the greatness. I'm only a couple hours in, and I'm playing Castlevania right now, so I'm kind of sidetracked, but I will keep playing. But yeah, Project Dark is Demon's Souls 2, so I'm happy. But back to 3D Dot. So would we want to see more of these like faux retro style games? Like we had Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10 and 3D Dot. Yeah, I really like this approach. I like it.
I think new retro is the new zombies, because you had Claudoon. And there's going to be so many of these new retro games coming out. Like there's even if you don't want them, they're coming.
I mean, the one thing that I want from them is to have kind of like the new like gameplay advancements, and like everything that kind of isn't part of that retro aesthetic should be like up to like kind of good standards. Because I mean, one thing that I remember reading about 3D Dot Heroes when it came out, I haven't played it yet, but is that like if you're going through a dungeon and like you need arrows to shoot something on like the other side of the room, there just won't be arrows in the jars that you can break. And like in Zelda, for instance, I don't know if it was in like the first one or in
both of the more recent ones.
Yeah, like it's like there's that sort of design decisions to put like arrows in a room where you would need arrows or like something like that. So I mean, at least keeping things like learning from the past 20 years. Or even more.
3D Dot. I swear to God, that game was developed by I think that thing has the director from Left 4 Dead in there, because when I need something, it doesn't come, and then I'll be at full health, and every enemy I kill will be giving me an apple that refills your health bar. Every bunny, every Octorok that I kill gives me an apple. But then then
when your sword is tiny, you don't need a heart. You can't find a heart anywhere.
Yeah, you can't find anything, and it's just, and that plays into the bosses, trying to beat the Kraken boss, that octopus type thing. Trying to beat that thing without a massive sword is just an exercise in frustration. And it makes a gameplay scenario where it's the first time you get hit, you might as well just restart the whole fight. And I don't really like that perfectionism in my games. Also, the last dungeon is really, really long and really, really tedious, and of course they make you fight every enemy all over again. That is one gameplay convention that I think only Capcom seems to still enjoy doing that needs to go away. If I get to the end of Castlevania and I have to beat every boss that I've played through the whole game, I'm going to snap.
That's Konami.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, since I'm playing Castlevania right now. But I was remembering Devil May Cry 4 and 3. I don't remember in 2, and 1 is blanking from my memory right now. But I hate that. I hate playing the bosses again. Just either give me new bosses or don't do it.
Yeah, it's here's new content. I mean,
So this is completely off topic. Well, not completely, but you know what retro thing I want to see come back? Digitized actors.
Oh, Night Trap.
No, because you know what I'm playing right now? Because it came out on PlayStation 1 Import Store.
What?
Cho Aniki.
Oh God.
I'm not familiar with that.
I need an adult.
Yeah, Cho Aniki is not appropriate for this family-friendly podcast.
I need an adult.
It's only rated T for teen.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only rated T for teen. Let me see it. If it. Yes, RB.
I think we should avoid this topic at all costs.
But I want to know what it's about.
You should look it up on Wikipedia on your own time.
Hey, did you ever play Muscle March for Wii?
Oh God, oh sweet Jesus!
Because that's a really tame version of Cho Aniki.
I gotta look this stuff up.
Sweet dear God, help me.
Cho Aniki released on PS1 Classics or PS3 is rated T for teen for crude humor, mild fantasy violence, and suggestive themes.
So I really liked 3D Dot. I mean, I thought it was a fun game. Definitely worth picking up if you've never, if you want to have the nostalgia trip, or if you haven't picked it up yet. Just don't expect anything magnificent. It doesn't have that. It's really missing a couple sheens of polish, but overall, still very, very good. So, yeah, I think that's it for me. So we'll move on to Zach, and you're talking about lots and lots of digital games, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Halo Reach. That's an RPG, right? No?
You level up.
Maybe what about Madden? Is that an RPG?
There's RPG elements in there.
If you're gonna make fun of sports games as RPGs, you have to use NHL, because there really is a legitimate RPG mode in that game.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
So our Canadian listeners will be happy. Okay. All right.
No, but I've been playing, or shall I say, trying to play the old Infinity Engine games that just got released. That were just released on Good Old Games. For those of you who are unaware, it's Planescape Torment, which is, I think, the shining gem of the three that are out right now, and the original Baldur's Gate with expansions, and the original Icewind Dale with expansions. And so those are all based on the old BioWare AD&D 2.5 rule set engine. I think eventually they kind of start to incorporate the 3.0 rules. But anyways, yeah, so I mean, I bought those because they might as well have. Steam has my credit card number, but Good Old Games might as well have my credit card number. And when
it's just so easy.
It is. Yeah.
I know a lot of people got angry about the whole PR thing for Good Old Games shutting down for a couple of days. The guys behind Good Old Games are CD Projekt, which they own the developer, CD Projekt Red, which made The Witcher. These guys are awesome. Yeah, these guys are awesome. They were kind of misguided in their attempt. Don't be mad at them. They're really good people, and they give us good stuff. Like, I'm so happy to have Arcanum again.
Yeah, I have that too. I
never got to play that.
It's only $6 on GOG.com, but definitely.
Is it good?
You look at these games from the 90s, and Arcanum is the only game that I can think of where you can play as a retard, and it's a legitimate option.
You can do special person.
You can do special person, or you can be an idiot savant where you're really good at math and can gamble against people and do really well, but you have no ability to speak.
Couldn't you do that sort of thing in Fallout 1? Like, you could play the idiot?
You could, but you had to manually put your intelligence down to 1. What I like about Arcanum is that you can do the idiot savant thing and actually not lose your ability to have intelligence the way it affects the rest of the game. You just have retarded dialogue options.
Special person dialogue options.
That sounds awesome.
But
it's got a lot of character, that's for sure. Like, when you're, I mean, at least
like, is it offensive or like?
No,
what kind of like could you come up with some sort of example?
Okay, so at the beginning of the game, like, your answers are like, "Duh, that looked funny," and stuff like that. And there's a character that meets you. You're in an airship that crashes at the very beginning of the game, and there's a character that meets you, and he asks you a question, and you're like, "Me hungry," or something like that, and he's like, "By the gods, are you really this dumb?" And it's great. I like it.
Awkward.
Yeah, so that's on GOG, and then so Planescape Torment, Baldur's Gate 1, and Icewind Dale, all available for $10. Arcanum is $6. But yeah, so anyway, so I've been trying to play, and I say trying because those games are old. They're really old. Yeah, they're like from the late 90s, which while not before I was born, was before I was 10 years old.
I hate you.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, like, that's the thing is, I've played a bit of Planescape Torment in the past, and, I just kind of used this opportunity to spend more money on, a perfectly good service, and, just have it on, like, a digital DRM-free copy. And the thing with Planescape is that it's really kind of meant almost to be played as a, like, graphic adventure of sorts. I mean, like, it has all of the stats in there, but like you really will do well to play a character like a mage with maxed out like intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, because that gives you the most dialogue options, which are really, that's like the key, like that's where you get the enjoyment from that game. And oh man, but yeah, so I tried to play Icewind Dale today. And I mean, I forgot how much fun it is to make a character in, like the older D&D rule sets, because it's been a while since I played some D&D, but it's an old game. It's a good old game, but it's...
Well,
I actually had...
I want to give props to Cave Dog and Chris Taylor with Total Annihilation, which came out in like 97. But it has like the ability to be played in widescreen and in multiple resolutions. Like, it didn't cap itself. You play like Icewind Dale, and you can play it in 800 by 600. And for me, I use my television as my computer monitor. So it's on my 40-inch television. It's like it literally just uses up 800 by 600 pixels. So it's like playing on a 20-inch monitor from across the room, and it sucks. But you look at Total Annihilation, and this is a game that created almost 15 years ago now, and it's scalable to massive levels.
How much do the games cost on Good Old Games? Because I've actually never really used it. I mean, I've used Steam all the time, obviously, but how much if I wanted to buy, like, say, Street Fighter 2, how much would
Street Fighter 2 is not there.
Yeah,
it's all
like
PC games.
PC.
I'm thinking Game Tap. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, okay. I'm thinking Game Tap. Okay,
but
my fault.
Depending on the game, for GOG.com, it's either $6 or $10, and they have a sale pretty much weekly. It's kind of random what they're going to put up, but
this week it's all the non D&D Atari stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, speaking of Total Annihilation, if you want Total Annihilation, it's cheap right now.
I just love the fact that I love digital distribution. I love having the game on my laptop. I mean, I actually prefer to have the game on my laptop when it comes to Steam. Like, I'm kind of fighting with myself right now because, I want to have the next Dragon Age on my computer, but then it also seems like Dragon Age 2 is going to be a little bit more of a console game. So it's like, well, crap, I have the original Dragon Age on my computer. I want to have Dragon Age 2 on there, but if it's going to be more fun to play, it's just – it's weird. I never thought I would get into digital distribution, but I thought I'd always like to have like the mound of games on my wall as I look at it right now. But I kind of like having just everything right there, and I can just open up my laptop and say, "What do I want to play?" Okay, let's look through my list.
I totally agree, and I love it on my PSP as well. Like, I know a lot of people get angry. Oh my God, some of these games are only released as downloads on PSN. I don't care. I caved and I spent $70 and I got a 32 gigabyte memory stick for my PSP.
Right.
And I have like 42 games on it, and I've still got 10 gigs free.
Yeah, I mean, I really like it. I love digital distribution. I think it's a great way to play games. I would actually buy games for my PlayStation 3 digitally. I mean, I know you can. I think you can still buy like Infamous or Burnout. Yeah, so it's
they're a handful.
Burnout.
What's that?
They're a handful on PSN.
Yeah,
I know. I think Mag might have been released recently.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of fun, and we were sitting here talking about Fallout New Vegas, and I'm like, well, I'm probably going to pick that up right through Steam. Thank God it's Steamworks and not Games for Windows Live.
There are some games that are both, though. You look at Dawn of War. Dawn of War's both.
Then again, the next Dawn of War expansion is going to be just Steamworks because Games for Windows Live is heartbreaking.
But I like achievements.
Oh, I love achievements. Don't get me wrong, but it can be what's terrible.
I like achievements when they open something up in the game. Like I remember just real quick, Yahtzee's review of Red Dead Redemption. And I loved Red Dead, but then I watched his review and I was like, yeah, a lot of that was just kind of doing stuff just to fill your checklist, and it didn't really do anything. So I kind of liked it, how in Fallout, most of the quests that you went on, they would normally give you something like great, like the one mission where you went to get like Abraham Lincoln's stuff, like you got his repeater rifle, like you got something cool with it. So I don't really like achievements. I don't really like quests or anything like that when I'm just filling out a checklist. If that makes sense.
No, I hear you completely there. I think that some achievements are worthwhile for, like, you look at Front Mission Evolved, which I don't think we're going to get to that tonight. I wanted to talk about RPG spin-offs, but whatever. I would never touch that game's multiplayer, like, had there not been a significant amount of achievements in it.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty decent. The multiplayer in the game is not bad, but I think it's a good way to entice players into playing something that they might not otherwise.
Yeah, I think Demon Souls is actually the worst when it comes to achievements, because literally to get some of those achievements in Demon Souls, you're going to play that game 8 times, because you have to use a certain soul to make a weapon or something. In order to get like the Weapon Master achievement, you have to make every weapon in the game. Well, the only way to do that is to use the boss souls, and you have to beat that boss, and there's only one boss a game. To me, I was just like, wow, that is an asinine trophy / achievement. That is horrible. I think Fallout also screwed it up. The fact that Fallout has the ones where it's like, reach level 20 with neutral karma, reach level 20 with evil karma. Like, don't make me replay the game. Like, achievements are cool when they're kind of just something that's thrown in that I'm either randomly going to do, or it's a checklist that I tick off because it's a quest that I'm going to complete anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I cut you off, John, but I just it really.
I hear you.
I love Demon Souls, but I thought that game had some of the worst. I like to get the platinum on games that I really, really like. Like Arkham Asylum, Assassin's Creed. I love to get the platinum in those games, like Dead Space, because they make me play the game a different way, and they normally come natural. Like they're called easy platinum trophies if you look them up online, but they come naturally. I'm playing through Castlevania right now, and I know that one of the achievements is one of the trophies is you have to complete every challenge on every level, and like some of the challenges are ridiculous, like beat this boss in 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Nier wasn't particularly good with his achievements either. There's like half of them are, like beat a boss in the game, and there's one for every boss in under a certain time limit. So
the only types of games that I can see that really work with the you need to get everything style achievements are platformer action adventure style games. And what comes to mind immediately are the Lego games, where I don't have a problem with the whole you need to collect every red brick to get this achievement.
Yeah.
In Lego Star Wars, because you know what? The level's fun to play as, and there's different stuff depending on what kind of character you play as.
And the game kind of encourages it. Like, I personally think Mass Effect is an exception to that as well, because Mass Effect is designed to be, with the decisions and, how things can be different each playthrough. There's the achievements for, getting so far with this comrade or, forming a relationship with this character.
What I really liked about the class-specific achievements in Mass Effect 2 specifically is that they were easy enough to do with like a short playthrough. Like you could go and get the set 20 enemies on fire in like an hour, but you could get the bulk of the achievements with one character on one playthrough.
Right. And I think Dragon Age also did a good job because it has a lot of achievements built into who you side with on the quests. And I like that because, I wanted to play it through again anyway, and I wanted to do the opposite decision of every decision that I made. So that's a natural achievement. But then there's stupid stuff in Dragon Age where it's like, oh, you need to have a level 20 mage or a level 20 rogue or a level 20 warrior. My first character in Dragon Age, I didn't get to level 20 because, I screwed the game up so bad. Again, check out my review. I played that game horribly the first time. And so I only got to like level 18 and there's no respawning enemies. So I was like, well, there's an achievement that's basically locked. I can't do it. Also, locking achievements drive me crazy. Like an achievement that's locked to a specific part of the game. Like the fact that Uncharted has chapter selections. That makes it easy to go back and get achievements. But if I have to play a whole game through just to do one thing on one specific part, I have no desire to do that.
Graphic adventure, not an RPG, but Heavy Rain did it perfectly. Where you could go back and be like, okay, I want to restart the game right here.
Yeah, definitely good. So we're getting close to the time limit, gentlemen. Do we want to move on into news? Because I think Zach has a nice news section for us.
Let's do it.
All right. What do we got, Zach?
So, just to, to recap, go to GOG, go to GOG.com, pick up Planescape Torment. At the very least, if you own like a Windows computer from the past 11 to 12 years, pick up Planescape Torment. It's $10. It's very much worth your $10.
We need to start getting checks. John, is there a way that we can start getting paid for like the number of stuff that we pimp on this show?
It's out of the kindness of our hearts. It's that.
So I'll take a money hat. I'm all for it.
Hey, Tom at CD Projekt, if you're listening to this podcast, give me free codes for everything. I'll be in contact.
Good.
And will I.
But yeah, so on to the other news is.
The news is.
There's a game. It's called Trinity Souls of Zil.
Which
I
want.
There is no Dana, only Soul.
I want to admit something to the readers of our website. The preview that just went up. We're recording this on the 8th, and
Friday
we just posted. Yes, Friday the 8th. We just posted a preview of Trinity Souls of Zil. I wrote that 4 months ago, and we forgot about it.
Total transparency there.
Oops. We learned
Whoopsies.
That is technically an E3 preview.
Yeah, but that game being published by Tecmo Koei, coming out for the PS3, that's going to come out somewhere in the first quarter of 2011 near North America. So just came out in Japan. Or no,
It's already
that's
out.
It is already out. Oh no, it was
I don't know.
recently delayed. I'm a liar. Recently delayed in Japan from September 30th, which was a week ago, to November 25th, which is like 2 months from now. So
Cool.
there's that. There's another game. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it's Pokemon, I think.
What?
Is it?
Let me show you them.
Yeah. So Pokemon Black and White came out in
I need
Japan.
an adult.
They so totally came out in Japan.
They did come out in Japan. And they broke some sales records to the extreme, which is to say they beat Dragon Quest IX's opening weekend by
Holy
over 300,000 units.
What?
Yeah,
Honestly, I'm
2.6
in Japan
million
now.
copies.
Honestly, I'm in Japan right now, and I ride the train every day, and I think I see at least 20 copies of Pokemon in any direction.
Good God.
Everybody plays it.
Yeah.
It's not just a kid.
It's amazing how the Japanese market has changed. It really, really is. I mean, you guys remember when we heard like the numbers on Final Fantasy VII, that first weekend sale where it sold like 2 million units or something like that? And we were like, oh my God, like this is amazing. And we all thought like how hardcore the Japanese were when it came to like console games. And in just a little bit over 10 years, it's just all handhelds now. It's all handhelds. It's
honestly
amazing.
think it has to do with that everybody has to commute here.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
in the U.S., I never used my iPod. I never, I had to drive to work and to school, so I didn't have time to play my DS on the way to work or school. But I mean, here, I finished all of Birth by Sleep on the train.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working right now, and I'm in an office all day, and I only teach 3 classes a day. But I'm sitting there going, if I could maybe sneak it in, and the dean of academics don't see me, like I would bring my DS to the office because I have so much downtime during the day where I'm just like sitting there, either waiting for students to come ask me for help, or really not doing a whole lot. Getting lesson plans ready, but there's a lot of downtime in my job, and I'm sitting there going, wow, I would actually really like to bring my DS into the office and just sit down and chill out. So I see the appeal now of a handheld game, but I think when I'm playing a game, I prefer to play on an HD screen. I prefer to, or at my computer monitor. Like, I just like that immersion factor. Like, I notice that when I'm playing my DS, I kind of have a tendency to zone out a little bit. Like, when I was playing Dragon Quest IX, I can't even remember playing that game. Like, my brain was just on autopilot for almost the entire time.
See, with me, I live in the Chicago area, and I work in southeastern Wisconsin. And anyone who's been to southeastern Wisconsin knows that there's nothing there. So
True.
I have an hour lunch, and I eat, and that takes me 15 minutes, and then I sit in my car and I play PSP or DS for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean that's the appeal, and I think Steven hit the nail on the head when you're talking about a society that's basically commuting every day, and you could be commuting for 20 minutes to an hour. That's a lot of time that you could get in some gaming over the course of a day. I'm finding that it's hard for me, now working a 9-to-5 job, to get in even an hour of gaming. Most of my gaming these days is on the weekend. And I'm a lifelong gamer, and I'm just starting in the workforce and being, a teacher. But most of my gaming is on the weekend now. Like, I'm sitting here tomorrow, like, I'm going to teach one class on Saturday, and then it's like, all right, I got the rest of my Saturday. I'm going to play me some Castlevania, or I'm going to play me some Digital Devil Saga. Like, that's the only time I get to game. And I think a lot of young people don't realize that, like, how hard it is to find time to game.
I played World of Warcraft for a long, long time, and I honestly don't know how the people who played World of Warcraft and had full-time jobs did that.
Oh, they didn't.
Oh, yeah, they really didn't do their jobs. But, like, I could not imagine, like, coming home after, because of my commute, I get up at about 5:30, and I get home at about 6. And it's like I have no desire and no ability to play video games when I get home. Like, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
That sounded like a similar voice earlier in the conversation. just saying.
Speaking of, sorry, I don't know if you guys want to.
No, go for it, Zach. Go for it. We got off.
Speaking of World of Warcraft,
Cataclysm.
World of Warcraft Cataclysm, which is the big expansion,
What's that?
the next big expansion for World of Warcraft, is
the
coming
world
out.
explode.
The world does explode. It's coming out December 7th. For those of you who are unaware of what now has 12 million active subscribers, I think is the number. Not just like accounts, but like active players.
It prints money. We need that GIF. We need that GIF of like the Blizzard heads.
We're in a podcast. We can't show people GIFs.
Dude, radio humor is best. It's just no worries. But yeah, so that it's
radio humor is the best.
Dude, radio, yeah. It's gonna basically the plot is that Deathwing, who's some dude, some dragon, he lived under the earth or whatever. No big deal, except that he exploded out of under the earth and blew up all of Azeroth, which is the world of Warcraft, the titular Warcraft. But yeah, so now like pretty much all of the, I mean, new content wise, there's like 5 new levels, 80 to 85, with a bunch of end game stuff and respective content for those new levels. But they're also redoing pretty much all of the zones in the game.
Yeah, no. Every single zone.
Well, they always do a graphical upgrade, don't they?
No.
This is not when they released Burning Crusade. Like the Outland had like it's kind of relatively upgraded graphics, and Wrath of the Lich King had its relatively upgraded graphics. But this is basically like a reimagining of the World of Warcraft.
There is the original zones 0 to 60 in World of Warcraft are gone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's
So wait, could I pick up World of Warcraft and still play it?
The interesting thing is that this expansion, the only thing that you need to pay for is the 80 to 85 content. All of the new zones for 0 to 60, and for the and the new races, so you can play as a Worgen, which is like a werewolf, and goblins. But anyways, yeah, so all of the new 0 to 60 zones are going to be part of the base game. So if you just buy World of Warcraft, like whatever $10 box it is, I don't know what they're charging for it these days, but if you just buy that, you can play 0 to 60 with all of like the content that they've added to that expansion, and all of the refinements in like gameplay and all of that, like easier leveling and like cheaper mounts and all that business that's been added over the past couple of years. So
it was really obvious as a veteran World of Warcraft player when they released the new races in the Burning Crusade that the content, the 0 to or the 1 to 20 content, was so significantly better than the 20 to 60 content that it was just like the game was really fun and then ceased to be fun until you got to Outland. And I had a chance to play some of the starting quests at last year's BlizzCon, and which I hate everyone who's at BlizzCon right here. This is the first one I have not been to because I moved out to Chicago. Hate you all.
I do too.
But you're not bitter.
No, not at all.
See, you have to go to TGS. Don't even start.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, and I can't go to E3 this year.
3.
I can't go to E3 this year.
But BlizzCon has Diablo 3.
Yeah, and they're not going to announce a release date. I guarantee you. No, they're not.
They might.
No.
This would be the year that they announce a release.
No. This is the year. No, it's going to come out in 2011. That's my prediction. It's going to come out in 2011.
A release window.
Okay, I think you might hear an offhand comment that we want to get it out in 2011. But look how long it took before they finally put a release date on StarCraft, and when they finally put a release date on Cataclysm. Cataclysm is due out in 2 months, and we
That's
just
true.
now
probably will get a release date a month or two before it comes out.
Yeah, they'll just be like, surprise, we're going to ruin your June.
It's not going to ruin my June. It's going to make it magical.
That's true.
But this is honestly a huge thing for picking up new subscribers for WoW as well, because they can just play all this brand new content that's, they've learned over 6 years that the game's been out how to make quests.
Yeah.
I guess they can afford to throw out a few freebies, huh?
Yeah. Throw some frickin' bones out there. Hey kids, first hit's free. It's just. I think we need to get the American government to bust up the monopoly that is World of Warcraft, because no MMO can succeed while this thing exists.
I mean, the interesting thing though is that there was another little news story that just came out that since in the month that Lord of the Rings Online has gone free to play, it has doubled
that's
profits,
awesome.
which I think that Turbine is doing. Like they did it with Dungeons and Dragons Online at first. I have such difficulty saying dungeons. But yeah, they did it with that first, and like they made a bunch of profits off of that, which I mean, like if you double a small amount, it's not that much. But like Lord of the Rings Online now, had a considerably larger player base than D&D Online, and doubling what they had going by making it free to play and adding an item store. I think, like, I kind of wish that World of Warcraft would do it, because then I could just, waste.
Well, I think that'll be the last step for World of Warcraft. I think that'll be the last step, like when they're getting ready to release a new MMO. And I'm guessing it's going to be a brand new IP, because that's what they've said. And this thing is years down the road. But that'll be the last step where Blizzard says, okay, World of Warcraft is now free to play. And that's when you know that if they haven't announced it already, the new MMO is coming. Because then at that point, then they're just making pure profit. That now they're just making pure profit.
Dude, they've been making pure profit for years.
I know they have like 23 Uncle Scrooge's money bins just like surrounding their office. And the Beagle Boys are trying to break in every day. I had what did we do last week? The last time it was Miss Nelson's missing out doing DuckTales.
I honestly think that for a lot of these big money MMOs, that they're going to be a subscription model for like a year and a half, maybe a little bit longer, and then they're going to shift to free to play. I'm calling it right now that the next one of these to go free to play is Star Trek Online.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which I want to tell the guys at NCSoft, and I don't know if this is NCSoft Korea's decision or NCSoft America's decision. When you shut down games like Auto Assault that are actually good but lack a subscriber base, you should bring back Auto Assault and make it free to play, please.
And then enjoy money.
Yeah, and I mean, Guild Wars is kind of skipping that whole step. It's Guild Wars 2 is just going to be like the same model as Guild Wars 1. Just pick up the box, register it, and you have your subscription for free.
I actually am really happy that Lotro is making that extra money, because I didn't actually I got to level 30 in WoW and never got addicted. I
can stop whenever I want.
I played a huge amount of Lotro. I got addicted to Lotro totally. I basically hit the level cap before the expansions came out. It was a blast. That game was so much fun. The world was awesome. And it always sucked that it would never succeed because of WoW. So it's really good to hear that it's doing so well.
I mean, it's good for them. I mean, it shows that the model that's been used in Korean MMOs seems to work. This free-to-play model seems to work. So, hey, more power to them. That's awesome. All right, Zach, more news.
Let's get through a couple quick announcements.
Yeah, then we gotta stop.
The last story, which is that the Wii Mistwalker RPG directed by Hironobu Sakaguchi has been delayed.
I made Final Fantasy. I made Final Fantasy, so that matters, right?
Have you?
Fantasy last
I mean,
story.
I'm sure you've heard. Yeah, that's grab the thesaurus, kids.
Which words are exactly the same but different?
All of them.
Last.
But yeah, so that's
final story.
Yep. Fantasy. So that's coming out in January now in Japan. Still don't know a Western release date, or if it's being released in the West. I'm not exactly sure.
Somebody will pick it up, I guess.
Yeah, somebody will. I think Atlas will jump all over that if nobody else does.
Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Edition announced. So basically, what might as well have been considered the Game of the Year edition. If it won our Game of the Year, right? Didn't it? They could.
I just love all these Game of the Year editions. I'm like, who makes these?
Yeah,
like, who dubbed you Game of the Year?
It's got the base game, Awakening expansion, and all of the DLC packs. or $50, which is, like pretty solid, I think.
I gotta say, I was disappointed with the way, when they said that we have all this content for Origins, and I think at one point the BioWare guys said that they had, 3 years of content loaded up for Dragon Age.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah, I remember that. And, Awakenings was pretty good. That was a pretty good expansion. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. But then, the other expansions, the other packs really weren't, they're not even worth calling expansions. It was add-on content. They really seemed to draw kind of a mixed reaction. Nobody really thought that they were worth it. I mean, we just had the Witch Hunt one came out, and that was just old environments from Dragon Age. So I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed. I was expecting to see a couple of really solid expansions or to see some new ideas used, and instead it's just Dragon Age 2. And
however, they have been doing, at least give them recognition for what they've done with Mass Effect, because the Mass Effect DLC has been
Mass Effect,
much more substantial and much more kind of what I would have wanted to see from that sort of DLC operation.
But then I also got to say that I saw that Dragon Age 2 footage online. Did anybody else take a look at that? Yeah, I saw gameplay footage.
Is it an action game?
Yep.
Oh no!
That's what I thought.
Am I the only person who doesn't watch trailers for games? I just read press
I've stopped
releases.
but
you're talking to the guy that's watched the Harry Potter Deathly Hallows trailer like 1,000 times. So.
No, like a Kotaku and N4G, I constantly refresh them on my browser when I'm just sitting around, and at one point they had an actual trailer. It wasn't a trailer for Dragon Age 2. It was off-screen gameplay shot from a cell phone. Okay, but it is an action game. Now, granted, this was the console version, but that thing looked like God of War meets Dynasty Warriors. Take that for what you will. That's just one observation, that this really intricate system that was kind of cumbersome, even on PC, but still very, very fun, is now point and click, and I was kind of expecting to see Kratos tear someone's head off.
So it's kind of like what they did with Mass Effect 2. I mean, maybe not. Mass Effect 2 wasn't as hardcore RPG as Dragon Age 1 was, but
they're
seriously simplifying it.
For all of the complaining from fans and BioWare saying, no, we didn't Mass Effect 2 Dragon Age 2, yeah, it kind of looks like you did. And I loved Mass Effect 2. I really liked it, and I hated the first Mass Effect, but I really liked Dragon Age Origins, and I wanted to see those ideas expanded on and those ideas
polished.
And polished, rather than throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So this, I got to say, that the off-screen footage that I showed, I was kind of high on the game. I sort of liked the new art style. I kind of liked the hard edges and the artwork and that sort of stuff. I really
like the darker look to it.
I liked that look, but then seeing that game in motion, I will be 100% honest, and I'm always ragging on people to give games a chance. I said to give Devil May Cry a chance, but my desire for that game fell off quite a bit. Now, hey, maybe the next thing that they show, it's going to be amazing. That could have been bait footage, but my desire for the game has precipitously dropped.
And I mean,
it's BioWare. It's going to be good.
That's the thing.
It's going to be good, but is it what I want? That's the thing. Is it going to? You can have a good game.
At that point, they've just called it Dragon Age, and it's not really Dragon Age.
Hey, but Rob, you know what you sound like to me? The reviewer from IGN who reviewed Castlevania.
You got a good point. No, he's John, you have 100% good point. You are calling me on my BS right now, and that's true. But I think that what I was complaining about with that review off mic or off recording was that if you're going to acknowledge the fact that that's not what you wanted, that's fine. But you still review it for what it is. So if I was reviewing Dragon Age 2, I would still review it for what it is. But as a fan, it's not what I wanted. But I think that, damn it, John, you got me. No, John's 100% right. I should judge it for when I play it, but I think that there's a weird point right now where it's like the fans really enjoyed the PC version, and that was the version that people were really high on. It's the version that was highest reviewed, and they seem to be going for the console market. That's great. Let's see what it looks like, but it's a little disappointing. But you're right.
At the same time, Rob, they have said that they're going to be implementing fewer changes to the PC side of it. So, I mean, sure. I said it before, and I'll say it again. It's very possible that we will have two very different playing
games.
And like I would be interested in playing both of them because like I love me some RPGs. At the same time, I really enjoy like an action adventure game with like some good story and like stat building elements. And if that's what it ends up being, like it's entirely possible that we'll have two very good games with the same plot and different. So anyways, I guess.
Which would be great.
That would be great. And John got me 100%. And I'm glad that, I like it when people call me on my BS, but it's just that it's a weird scenario where it's not what I wanted. It seems to be going in an opposite direction. So if I was reviewing that game, and even though I'm not a professional reviewer, I mean, we're all working on this site for fun. I mean, we're all fans. We work on this site for love.
I don't know if you're aware, Rob, but John's the PR manager. And
he's not a peon like us. He doesn't appreciate that reference.
That's true. But if I reviewed that game, and I'll just put the argument out there for the listeners, and I'm not trying to start any crap between IGN. I'm sure nobody at IGN is even going to listen to this. I found the review of Castlevania, not the score. I found the review for Castlevania Lords of Shadows to be very, very poorly written. And here's why. The guy's main argument was, this is not what I wanted. I wanted Symphony of the Night. This game is still good, but it's not what I wanted. Blah. And so I understand if, like, on a podcast he said, hey, this isn't exactly what I wanted, but in my review, I reviewed it for what it is. And so if I, for example, reviewed Dragon Age 2, I would review that game for what it is. I would not review that game as I'm a fan of the series and this is what I wanted. Because I like to see developers try new things. But it's also weird, and maybe this is what the gentleman at IGM was thinking. I don't know his name off the top of my head. Maybe what he was thinking was, it's really hard for me to separate that because this isn't what I wanted. But when I looked at that Dragon Age footage, I was just like, wow, like that is so radically far from what I wanted. But, hey, maybe it is going to be amazing. I know a lot of people didn't like Mass Effect 2, and I loved it.
And so, to be completely fair, it's completely valid to say this is not like the previous games in the series. One of the topics we were going to try and touch on tonight, which we didn't, that I mentioned earlier, was RPG spin-offs.
Yeah.
We never got Front Mission 5. We got Front Mission Evolved. Front Mission Evolved is
Super Paper Mario.
Yeah. Front Mission Evolved is not like any of the other Front Mission games, with the exception of maybe Gun Hazard, which came out for the Super Famicom. Do I like it? Yes. Is it like the other Front Missions? No. Can I complain? No. Are we going to review it? No, it's not an RPG. Not by a long shot.
Yeah, I think you got to review a game for what it is. I think it's fair to say this isn't like the other games. I think that's definitely a fair thing to say. A lot of people said that about Fallout 3. A lot of people said, well, this is Oblivion with guns, and, because it was a very similar game to Oblivion. That's a totally fair assessment, but at the same time, now you need to describe what is it that makes it different from Oblivion with guns. And so Dragon Age, just the limited footage that I saw, Dragon Age 2 looks fantastically different. Now, could it be the best game I've ever played? Hell yeah, it certainly could. But I'm saying that for what I liked about Dragon Age, it seems like they threw all that out. But then again, Zach's 100% right. And we're going in circles right now, but just to end it, Zach's 100% right.
Yay.
It could end up being two radically different games. It could be that it was early beta footage. It could be that they just didn't bring up a freaking menu system. It is what it is. And I think we need to be open-minded about it. But at the same time, if it wasn't what we were interested in, I think the developers should hear that in some respect. But you still review the body of work for what it is. But it's perfectly fine to say after the fact, hey, this isn't, exactly what we were looking for. Some people weren't looking for a God of War clone with the new Castlevania. That's totally fine. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a blast with it. But I understand that some people wanted another Symphony of the Night. But you know what? I got a little tired of playing those games, 18 bajillion times. I still love Symphony, though.
Hey, Rob.
I don't have to agree with that. Totally.
Rob, did you know that
it was awesome?
Did you know that Alundra and Ark the Lad are coming to the PSN this Tuesday?
I actually did, and I think this will be our last news story. Yes, I did.
We've got yeah. So Ark the Lad and Alundra are coming to the PSN download service thingy. $6 a pop, and by Tuesday we mean October 12th. For those of you who may or may not be listening, should actually be coming out the same day that the podcast is posted on the site. So timely news there.
Alundra is awesome.
Yeah, And then also in a thread on NeoGAF, Vic Ireland, who's the founder of Gaijin Works, confirmed that Arc the Lad 2 will be coming out for PSN in about a month.
He said that assuming everything goes to plan, which means that you need to buy these games if you want more working design stuff.
We'll make it if you buy it.
Yes. So anyone who's listening to this podcast, I don't care if you don't like strategy RPGs. I don't care if you don't like games that are like Zelda. Go and buy Alundra and go and buy the original Arc the Lad, because there are a lot more working designs games that I want. I want Lunar on PSN.
How was that check that
I support this sentiment.
How was that check that you got from Vic Ireland for that little rant there, John?
You know what? Check? Honestly, Vic Ireland and I have only met once, and for those who don't know, for those who started reading the site in the past decade, back in the 90s, Vic Ireland and a lot of editors who have not had anything to do with the site for a long, long time had like big arguments. And I tried when I came in 2002 to try and kind of patch that up, and it never really worked out because working designs collapsed. But Victor Ireland has never really been happy with RPG Fan, and it's only been since really kind of his work with Hudson and Gaijin Works with Miami Law that we've kind of sorted that out, because the offending editors no longer have anything to do with the site. So to answer your question, $300.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So is that it? Is that it for the show?
I mean, I've got one more real quick. Tales of the Abyss is coming to the 3DS.
Is that another Tales game?
Yes.
It's a previous Tales game.
Oh, okay.
It came out in 2006 on the PS2, and it's now coming out in Trace Dimensions.
Yeah, we'll see if Namco Bandai actually brings it to North America.
That's true. That's
okay. We can import.
All right.
I think the over/under on that is like 30%.
Well, I guess that's it for the show. I just want to throw something out there, and we can definitely cut this out if we actually don't want to do it. But apparently some of us can actually go to PAX East this year. I know I really want to go. Hopefully Steven will be back in the country. I mean, Zach we don't really care about, and we kind of need John. So I would love to do like some kind of meet and greet with listeners. I mean, I'm sure we'd only have like 10 people show up, but I would actually love to do something like that at PAX.
Oh, man, you're being generous.
Yeah, I know.
I like PAX.
Here's the thing that's funny is our RPG Fan is not a tiny website when it comes to traffic. We have about 150,000 to 200,000 unique visitors in any given month, which is not bad. Japan. Yes, and we're in Japan. If you haven't, check out RPG Fan's Facebook.
Yes.
Tom in Japan. Put our logo with Best RPG of E3 on the E7 box. It's awesome. I was so
excited when I saw that. Like, I was walking around Akihabara doing research for an article I'm writing, and I was like, is that the RPG Fan logo? What? I was so excited.
That was excellent.
I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
You were talking about the number of hits that we get to the site.
Oh, yeah. So we actually have a fair amount of readerships. Our reviews get tens of thousands of views if they're good. And, we have a lot of viewers. I get like 2 emails a month from people who read the site. And it's the level of people who actually read what we write and people who respond to us is very low. So if we do something at PAX East, maybe we're always at E3. The RPG Fan has had some presence at E3 for the past 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
We're at just about every convention that's not PAX Prime, which we may actually have somebody at PAX Prime this year.
Well, I mean, I definitely want to do something at PAX East, some kind of meet and greet,
That'd be great.
We talked about doing a live show there, maybe not like the format that they did.
5 years.
Yeah, when we actually have listeners, but like actually doing a show like from a hotel room at PAX where we can talk about the games that we've seen. If we do a show from E3, you guys will have to bring a laptop because I can't go this year. So if you guys like actually had a meet and greet, you could put the laptop down on a chair and that could be me. It would kind of be similar to what they did with Graham Chapman when he was dead on on Monty Python. You know what I'm talking about, right, Steve?
I do know what you're talking about.
Where they like spread his ashes all over the floor. We could do something similar to that. So I just wanted to throw it out there. So, if you're interested in doing something like that for PAX East, coming out to see us, we definitely want to get support. It's kind of hard to figure out how many people we have listening to the actual podcast, but I'm definitely interested. Love to hear from fans. So keep on posting on the message boards. If we start to elicit discussion and you guys come up with threads that you want us to talk about, we're definitely looking for that kind of stuff. We want to make the show bigger and better. So harder, better, faster, stronger, right?
We're also on iTunes. So
yes,
please subscribe on iTunes. Review us on iTunes. Just click that 5-star.
Only favorably though, if you have nothing good to say, don't say it.
We are a 5-star rated podcast on iTunes.
Yeah.
You were just asking for that to be changed.
Oh,
I
yeah.
realize that. Guys, I got students knocking at my door. That's the power of working at a boarding school, so I got to cut out. All right, so somebody end it for me.
I like turtles.
I hate you.